Welcome back to Ask the Retired CIA Guy. It's the 6th of March, 2025. It's my daughter's birthday. She's 42 years old. That's really weird because I'm only 27. Go figure. Math was never my best subject, even though I have an engineering degree. Um, the world is all upset. Europe is upset that America won't pay all of its bills anymore. We've been doing it for 80 years since the end of World War II. They tried to commit suicide twice in World War I and World War II. America saved them both times. Um, NATO was created 4 years later with three goals in mind: uh, keep Russia out of Europe, Western Europe, what part of Europe they didn't swallow already; keep Germany down. Germany is a vicious jackal that will bite your throat off unless you put your boot on its neck. It's just the way they are. Um, and then the third cause, or the third purpose of NATO, was to keep USA in Europe. We didn't want to go to Europe in World War One. We weren't really thrilled to go to Europe in World War Two, but we did. Um, After World War Two, the entire economy of Europe was zero, was gone. Refugees were everywhere. People were dying in the streets. Cholera was running rampant. Typhoid, you name it. Um, People were killing each other for revenge and just endless horror. Um, America allowed all the European countries to put tariffs on their goods so that they could rebuild their economy without being flooded by U.S. products. Um, so we allowed all of them to import into America duty free or virtually duty free. Uh, Europe built up. Now the European countries, their car industries have taken over our auto industry, along with the Japanese. Um, you know, 80 years is enough. Um, Time for Europe to pay their own bills. Uh, Russia is not shy. Russia has tried to take over Ukraine. They'll take over the whole rest of Eastern Europe that they used to own as part of the Soviet Union. They'll do it if they can. Why not? They're just a bunch of fascist imperialist. They love doing that kind of stuff. Only the USA has held them back. Only the USA has held them back. For 80 years, we've held them back. Now Europe is rich and wealthy, and it's their turn. Let them pay the bills. American taxpayers are tired of it. I mean, come on. Trump begged them to pay their fair share of NATO. And they still won't do it. Right? Most of the NATO countries don't even pay 2%, and they should be paying 4% or 5%, right, of their GDP in defense. But why would they do it if America pays the bills for them? They're not stupid. If America's dumb enough to pay the bill, why not? It's a bargain. Americans are just a bunch of dumbasses. You know, okay. Well, now Trump's in power. Trump's not a dumbass. Um, Simple as that. America's got 33, 34, 35, God knows how high $1 trillion debt. At some point, the U.S. dollar is going to fall apart. Um, I mean, we got to think of ourselves, okay? Um, they cut a, somehow America's to blame for all the wars in the world. I love that. That's just hilarious, in a very not funny way. Um, just nuts, just nuts. You know, we've given Ukraine every weapon we can, every help we can. We give them intelligence. We give them support for their government, for their agriculture sector. Russia wants to destroy them. Has killed women and children, raped women, stolen children to give to families that don't have children in Russia. I mean, it's just unbelievable what they're doing. You know, Russia is acting the same way that they acted at the end of World War II, where they raped their way through Eastern Europe. You know, leopards don't change their spots. Leopards don't change their spots. The Russians are always going to be assholes, and the Germans are always going to be assholes. And the Japanese, I love the Japanese, find their culture fascinating as can be. They're always going to be assholes. unless you try to stop them, or unless you put your boot on their neck and make them act civilized. If you don't do it, they're going to rise up and rip your throat out with their teeth and take all your lunch money. Okay, it's just the way they are. They can't help it. These are insular countries. I mean, the Germans, they're all the way on the other side of the Rhine. Even the Romans couldn't handle them. The Japanese, they're an island culture. They grew their culture in isolation from the whole world, even China, and they have their own way of doing things. And we cut a deal with them after World War II, give up military, give up trying to take over China, and we'll help you prosper and develop your industry and economy. And we did. And now they're living great. They have a standard of living that's equal to or greater than Western Europe, as greater than or equal to United States. They don't pay very much for their defense. They have a constitution, quote unquote constitution, that says that you can't have a military. Yet somehow, magically, they have the second largest navy in the world. Look it up. Okay, you'll see statistics that say China has the largest navy in the world. Yeah, if you count ships that can only go 100 kilometers off their coast. Okay, and the number of ships means nothing. Okay, Japan's got the most modern navy in the world. Okay, second, and it's not even second to the United States in modernity. Okay, the United States has got all those aircraft carriers, all those submarines, and that's what makes the United States Navy the most powerful in the world. Right? We can extend power to any corner of the world because of our Navy. We can keep the sea lanes free for commerce because of our Navy. Okay. Uh, China the other day, the U.S. Embassy in the United States in Washington of China said something about how they're ready for a trade war. They're ready for any kind of war. Okay, that's really smart. That's really smart. China's army, the People's Liberation Army, the PLA, and the Navy is actually called the People's Liberation Army Navy, the PLA-N. How about that? Doesn't translate very well, but it sounds good in Chinese. Um, they are eager and threatening to invade Taiwan and take over Taiwan, their lost province, and all that. Complete and total bullshit. Okay, complete and total bullshit. China, the best thing that China can do is thank America by shaking our hand and patting us on the back and giving us a nice hearty meal for keeping Japan off of their doorstep. Okay, Japan has always been a rival of China. They've been a rival of China for 1,000 years, and nothing's going to change that. Okay, China and Japan fight each other for hegemony in Asia. Okay, nothing's going to change that. Okay, the greatest favor that the United States has ever done for China is keep Japan from taking over China. Okay, we stopped them from doing it in World War II, and if they try to invade Taiwan, which used to be part of Japan, okay, China and Japan fought a war in 1895, and China gave Taiwan to Japan. Okay, and then at the end of 1940 of World War II in 1945, the United States gave Taiwan to China because, from Japan. Japan had no say in it, right? So in reality, Taiwan belongs to the United States. Okay, it doesn't belong to China. It doesn't even belong to Taiwanese. It belongs to USA because we took it from Japan. Okay, China hasn't owned Taiwan since 1895. They've got no claim to it. It's just a complete lie. Don't even listen to them. Okay, if they try to take Taiwan, the Japanese Navy is going to sink all the Chinese ships, and the sharks in this East China Sea and South China Sea will be fat and happy. Okay, and then China will have to deal with a newly risen militaristic Japan that has nuclear weapons, and using Japanese technology. They have some of the best technology in the world, right? They can make anything, right? They're as good as the United States or Germany. Okay, then China's going to have to deal with that. Okay, good luck. Good luck. Japan will have nuclear weapons, and unlike Western countries that have Judeo-Christian morality, the Japanese don't care about that. They will nuke China if they feel like it. Can you imagine Shanghai, a parking lot that glows in the dark at night? Okay, 40 million dead in about 5 minutes. Can you imagine that? I hope China can. I hope China can. You know what Mao said when the threat was that they might be hit with nuclear weapons? They said, "Oh, the people will still fuck and they'll still make babies. It's no problem. We'll just make more babies." That's what Mao said, and that's how Chinese think. Okay, that's how Chinese think. They're not like us. They're not a Western culture. They're a Chinese culture. They think like Chinese. Okay? Nothing wrong with that. Everybody's got their own culture. Think the way you want to think. But don't pretend that they think like the Western Judeo Christian people. Okay? Japan doesn't think like that, and the Chinese don't think like that. Okay? If I ran the State Department, if I ran the CIA, I would have a sign on every wall of every office that says, they are not like us. They are not like us. Okay? It's not racism. It's not bias of any kind. It's simply recognizing that different cultures are, by definition, different. Not better, not worse, different. Japan's culture was developed over thousands of years on an island, covered with volcanoes and mountains, with barely enough arable land to feed the people. That's Japan. That's how Japan has been struggling for ever since anybody got on that island 4,000, 5,000 years ago. Who knows? So China is playing with fire. There's two sleeping dogs that should be left alone and allowed to sleep. Germany and Japan. Okay? Leave them alone. Putin. Putin is making the biggest mistake of the goddamn past 500 years by upsetting Germany. When you upset NATO, when you upset Western Europe, you're really upsetting Germany. Okay? If Germany decides that NATO is not going to protect them from Russia, okay, then Germany is going to make their own way. They're going to become a military power again. They're going to have nuclear weapons. They're going to have the most sophisticated technology in the world, just like the Japanese. Okay? America's going to have to spend half their economy making sure that they don't take over the United States and the New World and Central and South America. Okay? We may not be able to save Europe, okay, from the Germans. The Germans will rise up and they will try to take over the world again. Okay, look how many times they've tried to do it in the past 150 years. Okay, they will try again. The leopards don't change their spots. Okay, and this is just the way they are. Russia and Germany have been in a struggle for 500 years over who has hegemony over the Asia Europe continent. Okay, Germany will if Germany gets nuclear weapons and has a strong military, they will be able to fend off any kind of missile attack, any kind of air attack from Russia using high technology. They will destroy Russia's military capability and take over their land and take over their people because they wanted to do it. They wanted to do it in World War One. They went all the way to Kiev in World War One. They went all the way to Kiev in World War Two. They freed Ukraine from the Soviet Union in World War Two, and they'll do it again. And they'll do it again. Okay? I lived in Germany 2 years, okay? I talked to German rednecks. You want to know, you want to see a good redneck? Go talk to a German redneck. Makes our rednecks look like Mother Teresa, okay? I mean, my God, with a beer in one hand and a verse sandwich in the other hand. Oh, come on, man. These guys don't care about anything except burping and they want to kick everybody's ass. Okay, so anyway, that's the status of the world right now. Europe that wants to live on wants the United States to pay for their defense. Trump's not going to do it anymore. Okay, they're going to have to find the money somewhere. That means they're going to have to raise taxes, and it's going to take a long time for them to rebuild their military industries. And in the meantime, Russia's going to sit there and take over Ukraine. It's going to take over Moldova. They're going to take over Georgia. They're going to take over probably Armenia. Okay, all of their rocket scientists come from Armenia. All of their computer scientists come from Armenia. Okay, very, 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 very intelligent people. Armenia. Okay, you know, Russia's not stupid. Russia's not stupid. I mean, and if they can, they will. If they have an opportunity, they will do it. They will do it, and they don't care who they have to kill. Okay, you're talking about a vicious, wild animal jackal. Okay, which will rip your throat out and dance in your guts. That's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Everybody goes, "Oh, peace and love," and all that. I just got a comment from somebody on X that said that the United States caused all the wars in the world, all through the past, God knows how long, probably 500 years. Even though the guy probably doesn't even know when the United States was started. Blame America for every war in the world, right? Merchants of death. It's all the companies that make weapons that want to make money, you know. Yeah, well, merchants of death want to make money. Of course they do. Every company wants to make money. Okay, but the United States is not the cause of all the wars in the world. If suddenly Russia and China and countries like Iran and the Arabs suddenly discovered peace and love and became hippies and put flowers in the barrels of rifles, um, uh, the world would be a very, very safe place. Except, of course, for Africa. Africa is always going to be in constant war because the Africans love war. They love to kill each other, and that's just the way to. Africa's fourth world. Okay, it's hopeless. Okay, and I hope China invests trillions of dollars in Africa with their new road initiative and all that kind of stuff. Please, please go to Africa. Try to make friends with all the African nations. All their money will be wasted. If you can't fit it in the overhead compartment of an airliner on your way flying back to Beijing, you don't have it. Okay? You don't have anything. You don't have any ports. You don't have anything. Okay? And the Africans are not stupid. Okay? Everybody looks down on them, but they're not stupid. In West Africa, the francophone part of Africa, they had a term, Wawa. Okay, it stands for West Africa wins again. They always win. The white people go in there, the Asian people go in there, God knows what people go in there, thinking that they're gonna pull a fast one on the Africans, and in the end, it's the Africans who win. Okay, they're not stupid. Okay, this is just the way it is. Again, write it on the wall. They're not like us. They're not like us. Okay? Tattoo it to your chest. Okay? They're not like us. African countries have their own cultures. Asian countries have their own cultures. Central South American have their own countries. United States, Canada, whatever. And speaking of Canada, okay, Governor Trudeau is trying to act like a tough guy. He's a moron. Okay, he's screwed. He's screwed, and he knows he's screwed. Okay, and they're putting bottles of Jack Daniels in shopping carts. All that means is going to be a lot of smuggling across the Canadian border of Jack Daniels. You're going to have to pay $50 for a bottle of Jack Daniels, and people will pay $50 for a bottle of Jack Daniels. Okay, Canada is shooting themselves in the foot. All they got to do is talk to Trump and cut a deal. He wrote a book called The Art of the Deal. Hello, McFly. Hello. Okay, cut a deal with Trump. He's a deal maker. He's proud of his deal making capabilities. Go to that, pander to that. Obvious. A blind man can see it. Okay? But no, they're going to act, oh, I'm proud and everything and all that kind of stuff. The western provinces of Canada despise Trudeau. He's a French pommy poof. Okay? He's gay and he crosses his legs when he sits down. Okay? They can't stand the man. Okay? The western provinces are like America, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, right? Wyoming. They're cowboys. Okay? And they don't like all that stuff that's going on in Ontario. They certainly don't like all that stuff that's going on in Quebec. Okay? I mean, my God, we don't need the burden of additional states. Trump wants Greenland. Okay? Why does he want Greenland? Because the polar ice cap, the North Polar ice cap, ice is thinner and thinner and thinner every every year. Okay, call it global warming, call it a ham sandwich, call it make me merry, call me merry and make me write bad checks, whatever. Greenland sits right there on the shipping routes across the North Pole. The North Pole is an ocean. It's not land, it's an ocean. And when the ships can go through there in the summertime, when the ice is thin, you can go from New York to Japan at half the price of going all the way down to the Panama Canal and then all the way up back to Japan. Okay? Screw that. When you can go up and over, okay, you can do that. You can go up and over to Norway and the Scandinavian countries the same way from New York, right? You go up over, you go past Greenland, up over Iceland, and into Europe, okay? Look on a map and see how far north Europe is, okay? I lived in Frankfurt, Germany. Frankfurt, Germany was on the 50-degree parallel latitude line. Okay, that is the same as Hudson Bay, Canada. Okay, that's further north than even Maine. Okay, in Frankfurt. Okay, but the currents make Great Britain warm in the winter and make the North Sea warm in the winter, so it doesn't all ice over. Okay, because of the warm currents coming up from I guess the Gulf of America now, not the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, in Frankfurt at 11 o'clock at night, it was still daylight in the middle of June. Okay, on the summer solstice, the days were very long, and the sun rose at 4 a.m. in the morning. Okay, in the wintertime, it didn't get light in the morning until 9 a.m. Okay, and the sun went down about 4:30 in the afternoon. Okay, on 21st of December, the winter solstice. Okay, those are high northern latitudes, and all of Scandinavia is in 55 and above north latitudes. Okay, um, uh, so anyway, that's why Greenland's important. You got to guard those shipping routes and make sure Russia doesn't take it over. Okay, that's all it is. That's all it is. Greenland could cut a deal with Trump. They could become the 51st state. They could become a territory. They could cut some kind of deal. Denmark is not giving them anything. What's Denmark giving them? Denmark's 4,000 miles away, and they don't have their economy is based on ham and cheese, okay, and porn. I mean, come on. Go to Denmark. Go to Denmark. In Denmark, you can't disagree with anybody. Everybody's got a right to have any opinion they want, and if you disagree, that's considered socially unacceptable. Okay, they got the weirdest culture of anybody in Northern Europe. They're far weirder than Sweden and Norway, and the Finns are terrific. The Finns are terrific because all the weak ones died during World War II. Okay, the Russians killed them all. The Finns are tough. Good Formula One race car drivers too. Um, anyway, what else is cooking in the world today? The tariffs, reciprocity. You charge us 10%, we're going to charge you 10%. You charge us zero, we're going to charge you zero. You charge us 50%, we're going to charge you 50%. Sounds fair to me. Okay, why should it be? Why should it be any different? Why should it be any different? Uh, you know, so all the European countries are screaming. It'll all settle down in a few weeks, in a few months, and they'll all cut deals with Trump, and everything will be fine. And the American taxpayer will make trillions of dollars in income from tariffs. Okay, and Trump is going to take that money and put it directly against our national debt, 34, 35, 36, whatever, how many trillion it is. Do you know how big a trillion is? It's an incomprehensible number. Incomprehensible. Human beings have no way of grasping the size of a number like trillion. Okay, to live a billion seconds, one, two, three, four. You start counting. You count a billion seconds, it takes almost 32 years. Okay? A trillion is 1,000 billion. That's 32,000 years. 32,000 years ago, mankind were hunter gatherers following herds of animals, and we were living on meat. That's why our pancreas cannot process carbohydrates, because our bodies are designed to process meat. When they discovered sugar, and the only sugar that ancient hunter-gatherer man ever discovered was honey. When they ate honey, got all the bees, shoot all the bees away and ate their honey, okay, they hallucinated. They saw visions, okay? That's how they discovered God, is through eating honey, okay? Because they never ate anything sweet. There were no apples on the trees. Apples are an invention over the past 150, 200 years of select breeding of different strains of apples. Okay. George Washington never picked an apple off of a tree. His apples were little green, hard, little sour things. Okay. Same for almost every other kind of fruit you can think of: bananas, pears, any kind of fruit. Okay. Most of the fruits that everybody's familiar with came from the New World anyway. Okay. Tropical countries all around the world think that they invented bananas. Madagascar maybe, Africa maybe, but anyway, who cares about fruit? Anyway, CIA. What's happening with the CIA? You got Tulsi Gabbard in charge of the. She's director of the National Intelligence, which is supposed to herd the cats that are the intel agencies. They talk about 19 different intel agencies. There's really five. There's really five. There's the CIA that collects human intelligence, intelligence collection from human beings, and then you have four that belong to the Department of Defense. They do satellite stuff. They take pictures from outer space. They do radar from outer space. They collect heat from outer space to make images. They collect all the signals, all the radio intelligence, all the signals intelligence, SIGINT, and that's all Department of Defense. Only the CIA is separate from them as the five elements of the intelligence community that actually um, collect intelligence. All the rest of those 19 so-called intelligence agencies are just analytical agencies. They analyze stuff. You're not going to see the Marine Corps go collect intel, or the Coast Guard, or the Space Force, or anything. They're not running. They're not running case officers into Moscow recruiting, Boris Badenoff. No, no, no. Okay, I mean they just don't have a clue. They don't have the culture. They don't have the techniques. It's taken the CIA 75 years, okay, 78 years to develop the tradecraft and the traditions and the skills and the mindset and the culture to have a functioning human intelligence collection organization. And then we have the best analysts in the world. Okay, they take CIA collected intelligence, they add to it every other kind of intelligence that's available, and they come up with answers to the policymakers' questions, and that's how it works. Um, okay, I'm not giving away any secrets. Don't worry, nobody's going to come to my door and stop me from having these rants and raves uh, uh, sessions on YouTube. If you have any questions, send me a comment down below. Okay, I'll answer it best I can. I'm on Quora, I'm on X, um, and you can find me. Just hunt for CIA or something, and you'll find me. Okay. There's no magic to any of this stuff. It's just straight, uh, uh, good, honest, hard work, tradecraft. Okay. We're not the FBI. We're not law enforcement. CIA is not law enforcement. CIA is not tapping your telephone. CIA is not reading your emails. I don't know who might be reading them, but it's not CIA. CIA is not putting out propaganda. CIA is not overthrowing governments overseas. That's the job of the State Department. Okay. And they do it with little pieces of paper about this big that have the picture of Benjamin Franklin on it. Okay, they give those pieces of paper to people that they think are in line with our policies, and that's how that works. Okay, CIA doesn't overthrow governments. CIA is not involved in any of that kind of stuff. We just collect intelligence and analyze it and give it to the policymakers. Okay, sorry, no Ferraris, no KGB sex kittens. We tried to find them. I and my buddies, we were looking all the time for the KGB sex kittens, but we couldn't find them. Or maybe they couldn't find us. Or maybe they didn't think we have access to what they wanted. Anyway, send me comments below. Peace and love. out